Hello everyone and welcome to BISP Solutions. I am CS Sanjana Mishra, working as the lead functional consultant at BISP Solutions. I specialize in synthesizing and analyzing the financial data. I have 7 years of experience in NetSuite, HFM, FCCS and so others. BISP Solutions is a tech company providing technological solutions across the globe. We have a far-flung proficiency in end-to-end implementation and support. Today we'll be looking at entering a vendor return authorization into the Oracle NetSuite application. Vendor return are the transactions that show what items are shipped by you back to the vendor. So these are what our vendor return transactions implies. Moving on to our NetSuite application. This is the NetSuite application. Now into the application, there are two ways through which you can actually enter the vendor return authorizations. One, you can directly enter a vendor return authorization. So this is the standard vendor return authorization form. Of course, you can have a customized form depending on the information that you'd like to populate into the return authorization form as per your organization. From here, you can select the vendor to which you want to return the items to. Now, the next step that comes is the status. Usually, into the forms in the application, that is the NetSuite application, there are three status of an form where it says pending approval, approved, and rejected. But into the vendor return authorization, there are only two status. One is pending approval, the other is pending return. By selecting the pending return, the authorization skips the approval process. So if your company uses the approval process for vendor return authorization, pending approval is your default status. And if your company does not use the approval process, pending receipt is your default status, or pending return is your default status. So here I am not going through the approval process, so I am choosing the status as pending return. This is the date on which you are authorizing the return, that is you are entering this return into the application. Amount, the total amount for which you would like to enter the return authorization for. Currency exchange rate, if you want to change depending on the current exchange rate, of course you can change the exchange rate. Any memo that you would like to put, like so this is the just a new return authorization memo that I have put. Subsidiary is automatically populated because of the vendor that we have selected, because at the time of vendor creation we select the subsidiaries and the cross subsidiaries that can select that particular vendor. So the subsidiary has been populated. You can of course add a class, location, department to make the whole return authorization form more informative. Any, if it is an intercompany transaction, you can of course add intercompany transactions attached to this particular return authorization. Now over here you've got the items in the expenses tab. Here you enter the items that you would like to return to this particular vendor. Let us take this particular item. uh, So this is the item that I would like to return. The rate was this, 4 units of item I would like to return. And now into the expenses, any expenses that you want to attach with this particular item for the purpose of return, any expenses incurred for the return, you can of course attach it. So I would like to attach transit expenses for this particular return, and this is the amount. Now I've added all the amount over here. Yes, so the amount is 10,000. So the 10,000 amount has been exactly populated, where 4 units of item for the rate 2000 each is the item that I would like to return, and expenses that are attached with it are 2000 transit expenses are attached to it. And after if I would like to add any billing relationship, the person in contact from the vendor, tax reporting, approvals, anything that I would like to attach with this particular return authorization form, I can of course attach it. And once I have filled in all the information that I have and that is necessary for the form, I can just save this particular return. So I've saved the return authorization. Moving back to our return authorization list, and let us just see. So as you can see, this is the return authorization that we had just created manually, where we didn't created it against a purchase order. We have actually created it just in a manual manner. Just we put it into our any kind of form that is manually I have entered the return authorization. So this is the return authorization that I have actually provided over here. Now the other way is you can actually create a return authorization from the purchased orders. So moving on to our purchase orders. So this is the purchase orders that we have. Now the return authorization can be provided only for the purchase orders that are pending for bill or that have been fully billed. So here this bill of document number, that is the purchase order number 135. This is the purchase order for which I would like to authorize the return for. Now, as you can see, the tag shows pending bill. So I can, of course, authorize a return for this particular bill. Clicking on the authorize return button. So the vendor return authorization form is now open for me. This information, that everything that we had populated or that we had filled into the vendor return authorization form in the manual manner, all that information is automatically populated, created from amount, date, exchange rate, pending up. You can just I would like to change the status to pending return because I do not want to follow the approval process over here. Any memo that I would like to enter into this. So any kind of memo I have just added to it. Class, location, department, all of this, the subsidiary, vendor, etc. is automatically populated because we have created it from a purchase order. Items are there. Any expenses, if are to be added for the purpose of return, if you have incurred any expenses, you can add those expenses. Click on recal and the amount over here will automatically be recalculated. And once you have done all the extra information that you would like to add over here, once you have done with that, the next thing is you will have to just save the vendor return authorization. One thing you will have to check is the location. You have to populate the location over here from where you would authorize the return from which warehouse the location the return will be authorized from or return will be done from. So this is the vendor return authorization form. All the necessary information that I would like to fill up have been filled, and now I'm going to just save it. So this is the vendor return authorizations list that we have. Now, as you can see, this is the return authorization that, or the vendor return that we had created from the Cisco Technologies purchase order number 135. the memo which we had put excess supply is there. So this is the return that has a return that has been authorized for the vendor from a purchase order. So as you can see, these are the two ways through which you can actually create return authorization, vendor return authorizations. One we had created manually, that is this AAA consulting vendor, and the other one was we had created from a purchase order for Cisco Technologies. So this was all from my side on the NetSuite application. In case of any doubts, queries, or consultation required from our side, you can of course get back to us at www.bispsolutions.com. Thank you so much.